Okay, I'm going to show you how to install the bullet dropper and adjust it on the tool head. I personally like to take the upper switch section and midsection off. It makes it a little easier for me to install. Take the dropper, take about 4 or 5 bullets and insert them in there. And then, so you can see we have a prepared case that we used in an earlier demonstration. Have it in place underneath the station where the bullet dropper is to be installed, and have the handle fully operated so that the case is up as far as it's going to go. Okay, we've got the dropper filled with about 5 bullets, and we'll just slowly lower it down into the hole and start screwing it down towards the case mouth. There are serrated edges up on the top for you to finger tighten it in. It's real easy. What you're watching for here is you'll see that the internal tube will stop and I'll continue threading down. What we're doing in essence then is lifting that internal tube relative to the internal slots of the threaded die. And just listen for the bullets to drop. This will have to go a fair ways down here because it is a short case, 9mm case. All right, now you can see that the internal tube has stopped moving now, and I'm going to continue threading the threaded die in. The space is getting greater and greater between this clip and the top of the die. And the bullets will fall fairly soon now. I think the travel is around 3 to 4 millimeters. Okay, I heard them fall. Now, I'll give maybe 1/8 of a turn, 1/4 of a turn extra, just a little headroom, so to speak. And then finger tighten the nut. Okay, when we lower this shell plate, there should be a bullet sitting on top of that case, and there it is. All right, you can just pull that bullet out, try again, and see what happens. The bullet should drop somewhere before your handle is fully actuated. There, they dropped. There's a little bit more travel on the handle. So this is properly adjusted right now. Now you notice it's very easy to adjust, and the amount of travel of the inner dropper tube is just very minor. Now if you are having a problem that you know, the bullets seem to not be tamping well, it's not going to do you any good to try to adjust the dropper even further and further down. It's an analogy you could use is shooting a pistol. Once you've squeezed the trigger and the hammer has fallen, squeezing the trigger harder is not going to make the hammer fall any better. The same analogy can be used here. Once the dropper is lifted high enough to drop the column of bullets, lifting it higher is not going to do you any good. So you just find the place that the dropper releases the column of bullets and just give a little tiny bit of over travel, and you'll be good to go. Now, don't grab your wrench and over tighten this nut. The threaded die is made out of aluminum, and it doesn't have to be tightened tremendously. If you're worried about it becoming loose, use a little medium Loctite, blue Loctite or something, and just give it a little snug up. It's not going to go anywhere. There's no force being applied to it. Okay, now I'll go ahead and put the upper portion of the dropper on the business end here, and just lightly tighten the nut. It's not going anywhere. You don't have to really crank down on it. You don't want to do that. Just snug is fine. The internal portion of the dropper is free to turn, so you can adjust it so that the switch is in position for the wiring to run straight, and also the output tube spring coming from the collator will sit down there nice and straight. Okay, I've reattached the upper portion of the dropper and let the cables down. Now, the reason they're hanging here is we're on a very low table, so it's you have to make do with what you have. I'll take first the output tube, put it on the top of the dropper, and just slightly secure the set screw to hold it in place. There's a little groove that the set screw goes into You don't have to tighten it down. It's just there to prevent it from being lifted off the dropper. And then there's no polarity to be concerned about here. Just take one connector and put it on each of the two available terminals. They're the terminals that are located farthest apart. The center terminal is not used. Okay, that's about it. We'll crank it up and make a few rounds and see what it looks like. Okay, we've got the bullet dropper assembled now, and we'll go ahead and run some rounds. Now, pay attention to the fact that we're just bolted to a rickety old table, so it's going to be shaking around, but you'll see that it's very tolerant of that motion. And we're not loading these rounds with powder right now because they're basically just for this demonstration. So we're all ready to go. I'll start pulling the lever. You just watch and see what happens. I'm going to support the press now with my free hand and jack up the speed a little bit and see if we can make Mr. Bulletfeeder by Double Alpha really hum. I guess you can see that if you went that fast, you'd be throwing powder all over the place. So you won't be able to outrun Mr. Bulletfeeder. There's one other quick thing to mention about setup on a 650 or any press for that matter. As you notice, there's not a whole lot of room between the powder measure and the switch section of the dropper, but there is enough room where it'll fit. You don't want it to rub the switch section because if there's any friction between there, when the bullet dropper tube is lifted and the bullet's dispensed, the friction may hold it up, and then as you lower the shell plate, all the bullets will fall out of the dropper. So you don't want anything to touch the switch section. Here's a little bit of information for those of you who have the old style 650. This 650 we've got set up here is the old style 650 with the case feeder set off to the left. The new 650s have it set more off to the right. With the old 650 like this, you know, the collator will be, the bullet feeder collator will be out a little bit more in front because of the positioning of the Dillon case feeder. What I want to point out here is that if you have a lot of lateral pressure pulling on this bullet dropper, you can cause enough friction to have the bullet dropper stay in its upward position. Here I'm accenting it now by holding a little pressure sideways. You want to make sure that the bullet dropper will fall easily when you have your installation completed. If you find that there's a little bit too much tension, one thing you could do is perhaps move the collator a little bit more towards the center line here, or you can relieve the spring a little bit. You can stretch it in various places, just a tiny bit, and that'll give you enough reduction of that pressure where the dropper will fall by itself.